Hi, I'm Rose diMattina, and this is Lift High the Cross, a program dedicated to the teachings of the Catholic Church. Our guest today is Melanie Rigney, who has authored a book called Sisterhood of the Saints. Welcome, Melanie.
Well, thank you so much, Rose. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
This is such a wonderful book. I've looked into it, and it's really, really an incredible, well, first of all, research on your part, and a wonderful book of inspiration to women or anybody who wants to read about saints. Tell us about how you got involved with this.
Okay. Well, Rose, it was truly a God experience. A friend of mine and I had actually proposed a different book to the publisher, and we talked to them about it for a while, and they ultimately said they weren't interested in that book at that time, but they would really like to have a devotional for women on female saints and blesseds. And my friend wasn't able to work on that at that time, so I was given the assignment, and it was truly, I don't think I've had a larger, more meaningful piece of formation in my life than about 3 months that it took me to write it, and do the research. So
it took a lot of research because you have a saint for every day of the year.
Yep, every single day.
And what's wonderful about the book that I've noticed is that it's for busy people. Right. Each section about the saint is not that long. So it gives you something that you might read in the morning or even in the evening. Busy women everywhere can do it. It takes maybe about 5 minutes.
Right.
And they can be inspired to meditate a little bit about Christ and set their goals more towards a Christ-like goal. Now, you tell me, which of these saints inspired you the most?
Oh, that's like asking somebody who their favorite child is. I found each of these women to be fascinating and strong and brave in their own way. I think the one that perhaps has inspired me most the way I live my faith actually is a blessed, and her name is Agnes Phila, and she lived in Thailand in the early days of World War II. And she was very in your face, I guess we would say, when the Thai authorities came and told her that she and her sisters were supposed to stop talking about Jesus. Ultimately, she actually sent a vial of gun barrel oil to the police after she had challenged them on whether they were ready to shoot all the people they would need to shoot. And with the vial of oil, Blessed Agnes also sent a note saying that she would be praying for them when they came to shoot her. And I think, especially in today's world, in the United States and elsewhere, as we all know, Catholicism is under attack. Yes. Christianity is under attack. Yes. And I think that is an example we all need to learn from, that we do need to stand up for our faith and be bold when it is attacked.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing I noticed about the book is that you don't just write about, as you're talking about right now, seem to be lay people. And I think normally when we think about saints, we think of them as being religious, nuns, sisters, priests. Do you find that there were a lot more lay people involved in this, and coming from all walks of life, or what?
I think that's really the fascinating thing. I think when we all are in grade school, and we're first getting our first catechesis, we do tend to think that sisters are all the saints, because we think of people like those who really do inspire us, Teresa of Avila, Therese of Lisieux, that we think of on a daily basis. But it's also important to remember dressmakers are saints, teachers are saints, mothers are saints, sisters are saints, daughters are, everyone's a daughter, obviously, but politicians are saints, physicians are saints. We can't take a pass as lay people and say, oh, well, we have our busy daily lives and sainthood is just fine, but that's for people who wear a habit. And as you know, the Catechism says we are all called to holiness. So we as lay people, if our vocation is, for example, being a mother, being a writer, being a social justice minister, working for the rights of the underprivileged, working for the rights of the unborn, we need to step up, because we too are called to holiness. So we don't get a pass.
So what is a common thread that runs through all these lives? They're all different, coming from different directions. They're coming, as you said, from politics, from dressmakers, whatever. What is the common thread?
I think there were two threads. One perhaps is a little easier than the other. They loved God. God could, almost anything would happen in their lives. One of my favorite newer saints who was formally canonized last fall was Anna Schaefer from Germany, and she was a laundress, wanted to become a nun, and was working to save up enough for a dowry. She fell into a vat of lye, and several surgeries, never walked again. She was really angry with God for about 8 years. Didn't have much to do with him. At that point, she realized that she was in this situation, and she needed to use the situation to bring other people to Christ. And so she started asking people into the home so she could pray with them. She started praying for other people. People would come to her with their problems. So I think that was one of the two things that really impressed me, was that they just loved God. Sometimes they got a little off track and didn't always exactly get from God what they wanted, but they always loved him, and they were faithful. If they got off the straight path, they got back on it. And I think the other thing, which is perhaps even more challenging, they all knew God loved them.
That's a real challenge. Sometimes we forget that in life, especially when we're,
number of people who, when they were down, turned to saints, just as we do. And it's not that we're not saying that they're idols by any means. I mean, I think that's sometimes people misunderstand our relationship with the saints. Right. The saints are like our friends. Right. The saints are people who help us. The saints are people who, because they were human, they've been where we are. They understand what pain is. And we don't pray to the saints instead of God, but we pray to them just as we do to the Blessed Mother and ask for intercession in our dark hours.
A lot of people would say, why can't you go directly to Jesus? I mean,